for joining us. So today we are opening up Women's History Month with a theme. And today's theme, or this month's theme, is going to be movies directed by women. So I was like, okay, let's go in the archive and see what we can find, right? And I was like, okay, American Psycho, that's a classic directed by a woman. I personally never seen it before doing this review. So I was like, yeah, why not? Plus, it's really big on TikTok right now. You can't, be on TikTok without hearing some of the audio. So I was like, yeah, let's see what the actual source material is. But yeah, what did you guys think? Take it away.
Well, I had this movie in my hard drive, and then I
Ooh.
uploaded it to my OneDrive. And it's funny because I never saw this movie, and I literally had it because I did favors. But it was cool because I already had it, and I'm like, all right, let me watch this movie because a lot of people been talking about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I shared it, and like we had a good time because this was very interesting. It was long story short, I feel like they were trying to be like, hey, don't be so greedy
Okay.
because this guy, I mean, look, from the beginning, he's just, oh, like, look, I do all of these things in order to take care of myself, but I feel absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel anything and all of that. But the funny thing is that he does feel things because when someone's doing better than him, ooh,
Classic narcissist.
wow. I mean, and no, like the other thing that brought me back was that whole business card scene. I
Oh, yeah,
just
that was a good scene.
like wow, it was a great scene. It's just lost in history. Like, what do people do now? Do they like compare the QR codes to see who's cooler? I mean, it had so much like dick swinging contest
Mm-hmm.
energy, if that's allowed to say, you know what I mean? Because
Mm-hmm.
it was just all over the place. Like wow, and it really brought me back because that's really how things were. And it's kind of cool to see how like a lot of that has gone away, but at the same time it was definitely interesting. And this guy, the stuff he would just get into just to stay on top was quite interesting, like wow.
Mm-hmm.
And everything that he did just to have emotions was was like an interesting take, because if you get so greedy, you stop feeling. You stop caring about things. You just start caring about making more paper.
See, when I was watching it, right, and I did enjoy the business card scene. I thought that was really interesting because yeah, he definitely was so proud of his business card. Then when everybody came out with theirs, and keep in mind, the business cards were so similar that
Yes.
literally all of them looked the same. They had white background, basic font,
But
but
he
there were
had bone background.
yeah, bone background, antique
Mm-hmm.
white background, all of these
Mm-hmm.
Listen,
enamel background. It was all of these different variations of white and Roman numerals, Roman times, whatever it is on a
I,
word.
it's funny because I was thinking to myself, like, man, if you guys had discipline, I wonder
Mhm.
how cocky you would be. Like, like, but this was what
listen,
90,
once
ninety one.
I had an Averex jacket once, and I told everybody, I was like, "You got a white Averex jacket? Why you get a white?" I'm like, "No, it's bone." Trust me, when it comes to colors, it matters. So when that scene came up in the movie,
Man,
I understood. No, that ain't white. That ain't eggshell. That is bone.
Mhm.
Okay, like it's a
mm,
big difference. This movie um, threw me for a while because I had never really actually watched the movie. I've seen scenes as this movie came out in 2000, and I've known about the movie forever, but I never really sat down and watched. At least in my adult life, can I say I paid attention to this movie? So watching this movie this time around, and then being that it is, we're doing Women History Month, and the theme is women directed films. I want to focus more on the directing in this movie. Like I love looking at cut scenes and how they use it, how it's being filmed, and things like that. We just reviewed our Creed review for Creed 3. Go back and watch that also on Pop Review Entertainment as well. And we talked about how the directing in that movie stood out. And so I wanted to take that approach to this film. And I know it was a book first, Okay, but when you're watching this film that's filmed in 2000, I thought the film came out in the 90s, right? Late
Mm.
90s, but it's an early 2000 movie.
Mm.
Filmed as if it's in the 80s.
Mm.
It's so like the time place is the 90s, but it's clearly filmed and looking very 80ish in the movie. And I wondered, watching this film, was she trying to, pay an homage, if you will, to the book that came out in the 80s? So from a standpoint of from the film in itself and the cameras being used and the different cutscenes, like I like how she showed him in the beginning of the movie, him pulling the mask off with an air. I got the, and everybody knows who's popular right now, and I know you do as well. See the Superior, the Netflix hit show You.
Mm-hmm.
I said they stole you,
Yeah.
came from American Psycho.
Facts.
Okay.
I was thinking about you.
I
I was
nothing
thinking
but
about
you
you
watching
when I
this.
saw this. When I saw this, I was definitely
I
thinking
thought
about
of
I
you.
think the only thing that's similar is like the inner monologue. Like we can hear his thoughts, right? But
I mean,
yeah,
go ahead.
Joe is so much more likable than this jackass. Like this dude is a complete jackass. This whole movie.
You know
You
what?
girls
Though?
just like
Joe,
psychos.
Not this one.
Joe drags it out.
Joe drags it out, especially in
Joe,
season 4 right now.
Joe?
He drags the whole thing out. He'll become an investigative reporter and do all of this stuff. And this guy, he just looks for an opportunity to take you out.
This guy.
See,
is
I
just
think they
nuts.
have two different psychosis. Like, okay, clearly, what's it called? Bateman?
Bateman's definitely misogynistic.
He's definitely a narcissist, definitely psychotic. I thought it was interesting that they called him Bateman, and I wonder if it's a play off of like Norman Bates.
I thought so.
But Joe, I feel like he's not. I feel like he may have like borderline personality disorder. Clearly, they're both serial killers, right? You can be a serial killer and have different diagnoses. But Bateman is definitely a narcissist, definitely a psychotic, and I did like the all of like the how they let moments kind of how the moments had their moment. Like there will be, you'll see his face and the camera will stay on him while we're hearing his thoughts, and it will go to the next person. And it had so many different people in here that became more famous.
Absolutely.
Wasn't that Jared Leto?
That was Jared Leto. We had Batman and the Green Goblin in the same movie with William Dafoe. We got another superhero right now. Jared Leto's played the Joker, and he's played Morbius. He's in this movie. We got
Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah, we got Reese Witherspoon. We got two people from the popular show Big Love, okay, which happen to be brother and sister in the movie. So we got Gene, the secretary, as well as I got his picture right here to the far right. The gentleman to the far right as well. Like this movie is full of guys who go on and girls are going to become bigger and better stars. I mean, Josh Lucas is in this movie. It's a lot of stars in this movie. His name was Matt Ross. That played in a bunch of movies as well. Go ahead, see.
Even the girl, I forget her name, but I instantly knew her face because if you liked the Mario movie, Super Mario Brothers, y'all know what I'm talking about. What's his name? John Leguizamo.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
She plays the girl, the main girl in the what's that picture at? Hold on.
Bring it back.
Yeah, I got it.
She plays the princess. Toast.
Yeah, the girl right there. She plays the mushroom princess.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So the cast was really good. But one thing that I enjoyed about the movie as well was that I still don't know if he actually did all these things. Like, did he do it?
That's the big rumor. I remember that before watching the film they talked about. So upon finishing this film, I asked him to go look it up. And the first thing you come up with, it says, did it happen in his head? And I think movies like this kind of plays into like the Joker moving forward as well. No, it actually happened. I think things that didn't happen, you can clearly see like the scene with the screaming cats and all that kind of stuff, marrying the skin and the cats. That wasn't real, but the murders definitely happened. Like even some of the scenes are in the beginning of the movie when he's yelling at the girl in the bar, right? You like, did she hear him? She heard him because clearly, like even the one scene the secretary say, "What'd you say?" He repeats himself. He has no problem telling you what he said. They just think that he's being facetious, if you will, and ignore it. But he was definitely being upfront and honest about what he was doing and what he was saying. It was definitely happening.
But here's the thing, though. There were moments in the movie where other individuals didn't, they kind of confirmed that it didn't happen. He mentioned that he killed Jared Leto's character, his lawyer. The lawyer's like, hey, I just had dinner lunch with him 10 days ago. So it was like he's still alive, which is why he took the whole voicemail of his confession as a joke, because he literally had lunch with the guy he's claimed to have killed in the voicemail. And also, when we get to the scene where he wakes up and he's going through the halls, and I assume he's attempting to clean up the bodies from the other, where they were hidden. He goes in, everything's painted over, brand new, no bodies. There's a real estate agent in there. So if the
even
murders
Jared
actually
Leto
happened, then we would have to believe that the real estate agent, for whatever reason, is covering up the murders and got rid of the bodies for him.
You know what though? That look on her face, I was trying to figure out more into that, because she was looking at him like, "Listen, you should get out of here."
But it's like,
she
was
knew
it
what
get
the
out
hell
of here
was
because
going
he's
on.
a strange man who's not supposed to be in this open house, and he's
I-
very much, looking deranged? Because she tried to catch him in a lie. She's like, "Oh, did you hear about the listing in the New York Times?" And he was like, "Oh, yeah. Sure. Well, it's not in the New York Times." She was trying to suss him out.
Well, I know they had that one scene as well when he drug out Leto's character, and the doorman just stood there. There's clearly a trail of blood that's being fall behind him. I get it.
I was looking
But
at
yeah,
that
why
like,
would
how
the
do you
doorman
not
not
notice
say
How
that?
do you not notice the murder scene
Yeah.
right there going on? So
I'm thinking a lot of it is happening in his head. Certain things, maybe not, but I think the killings, I think he just imagines these things, because characters literally say in the movie, hey, they contradict, what would have taken place had it have been real. You see what I'm saying? I don't know. I
Now,
don't know.
the girl that found people in the fridge and was running. The crazy part about that scene was the level of precision is how he threw that chainsaw.
Which is why, is it real or not? Because
Yeah,
is this something that
yeah.
someone would actually be able to do? I don't
Right.
think so.
you see how he
Yeah.
worked out? Did you not see the
No,
man
but
sat
then
through 1,000 crunches?
no, but then but wait a minute,
That's
wait a minute, but then
that's
wait a minute.
mathematics.
After that, you saw him doodling all the time.
Uh-huh.
He was always drawing shit. So it might have just been in his head, and then what really happened was just that he was coloring the shit. You
I
know what I
think it
mean?
may have
And
been
then
in his head.
the secretary found that book full of
I
stuff.
found it to be. I get the point. I understand it. One of them things that make you go kind of moments, because it's when you look it up, when you talk about the movie, a lot of people say, is it real? Did it not happen? Fight Club, you knew it wasn't happening at the end, right? It was inside of his head. The Joker movie, people still say, did it happen? Did it not happen? I think they showed you scenes that was real versus what was not real. So I guess it's up for interpretation in this film.
I mean, like, to be honest with you, I loved it, because what resonated with me with this was just these type of guys. I've met them so many times throughout my career. Mortgage
Well,
brokers,
you're in New York.
all the real estate. No. It's not even that. It's the industry. It's the industry. Because when you make fast money, there's a lot of things you stop caring about. A whole bunch of things you stop caring about. And like, I think that what they're showing in this movie is that this is an extreme level. Okay, I'll give you an example. The two hookers that he ordered. Everything that he did, all of that stuff that he did with them, and then pretty much just threw them out to the side after the fact. His wife.
And hold on, if you don't
No,
mind me,
wait,
go
let
back
me
to that
finish.
scene.
Let me
Okay.
finish. All of those guys were pretty much in arranged marriages. Not because they loved those women or anything like that. It was all about appearances. Everything is just a dick swinging contest in here. You know what I mean? Nobody cares about anybody. Everybody's just looking out for self, and everybody's just pretty much just trying to get paid as much as possible. I really think that this is just showing an extreme as to like what happens when you get this greedy. Because this guy, he got so pissed off at other people that he imagined killing them. He had, I mean, the guy that had the better business card. You know what I mean? He went and through this whole thing in his head. Went to his house, chopped him up with a freaking with an axe.
Well, you talking about his own house.
Yeah. No,
You know.
but chopped him up with an axe. Went through this whole thing. Put on a raincoat. Blah blah blah. That could have just all been in his head. But my point is just that the emotions he had inside was just fueled with jealousy over something so minuscule. But because you have all this money, nobody can be better than you. You know what I mean? And I think that this movie depicted that very well. And yeah, with so many examples, like it's just amazing.
Well, I think
Yeah.
that prostitute scene that showed that when they said what's going on, and when he goes to the drawer and he opens the drawer and he says, "Oh, we're not done yet." You
Yeah.
mean that to me indicated he was going to kill him. You know what I mean? Like the scene
Mm-hmm.
where you see he's following the lady in the beginning, like the first kill they don't show, but he's following the lady and he goes hi, and that's the next scene he's cussing out the the cleaner people because they want to get the blood out of the clothes. To me, those indicate things like when he kills the bum in the street, that indicates he kills them. So all of
Mm-hmm.
it necessarily, some murders actually happen. It's which murders happened versus which ones didn't happen. But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of that stuff actually took place,
I
I
know, but
believe,
look,
in the film.
look at that. Look at that whole situation with the bum. He look at all of the things that he said to him prior to that.
But there's people like, I mean,
He
of
said,
course, that's
no,
just
no, but the
that's
thing
not
is, you know what that
that's just in
reminds
general.
me
That's
of?
just how people are.
It reminds me of that whole of when Occupy Wall Street was out here, and then at the same time, you had all those people saying Occupy a job because they
That's what I'm
didn't
saying.
want.
That's real. That's how people think.
That's real,
Absolutely.
and the thing is,
Yeah.
it's just that you're always gonna have people that once they have a certain amount of money, they don't want to give a shit about anything else.
My thing is they did a good job of, or the director did a good job and the writers did a good job of making his mask so, like, so blatant. You could see it as the audience, right? Because we know, at least in his head, at the very least, that he's a killer. And but when he's around his peers, he wants to appear not only like financially superior to them, but morally superior to them, because they're making all of these anti-Semitic remarks, these misogynistic remarks.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes out of his way to kind of be the counter to that. So if we were just observing or listening to their conversation in a restaurant, we would say, hey, this is a good guy. He's standing up for
The man.
minorities, and
Yeah.
but it's all a ruse. It's all pretend,
Mm-hmm.
because we see
Mm-hmm.
when he's by himself, not surrounded by his peers, he has a completely different attitude. Like we saw again when he was at the cleaners and talking down on the lady who was, who runs the cleaners, and the homeless man in the alley. So it's like he does have this pretend, this facade on around people who he believes are his equals, or at least close to his equals, because narcissists don't believe that they have equals. They believe that they're better than everyone. But yeah, just really interesting. This movie was it was good in a way that I didn't expect at first, because again, I've never seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is like final thoughts or what.
Yeah, we definitely went right into final thoughts.
It definitely did. But I didn't expect it to be so layered. Again, I've never seen it before. I didn't know much about it. But it leaves you with a lot to think about, even after the film is over. And that's what I enjoyed about it.
Victor, Junior.
Well, there's so much to say. It was just because it really depicts a guy on Wall Street incredibly well. And I don't know if I'm just saying that from a New York perspective or just, and even because I would put this up there with Gordon Gekko, like from
Yeah,
Wall Street.
I like that comparison.
I would put it up there because it's just um a very descriptive way of just putting somebody out there that's just has this ungodly amount of money and feels that the world is their oyster, and nobody can do better than them. Now, I'm not saying that every single person on Wall Street is like that, but this is this.
Sound like you was calling it a Wall Street thing. It's definitely a Ronald Reagan problem.
Well, yeah, no, but at the same time, look, that too, because at that time it was a situation of greed is good.
I was about to
Everybody,
get a Ronald Reagan reference in there somewhere if
no,
I
but no, of course, because
could.
look, you know why? Because every
Don't
time
get
we
him
do an
started.
'80s
Don't get him
movie,
started.
because look,
I
every single
had to,
time we do
yo.
an '80s movie,
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
because look, for
it's
example,
definitely '80s.
look, yeah, Donald Trump and Joe Biden don't have the influence on movies that Ronald Reagan and George Herbert Walker Bush did, because the programming is different. Our content taking is different. So we all cared about shit at the same time as a country. So the movies that came out back then were sending a broad message. This movie to come out to come out when it came out, speaking about the transition of the 80s to the 90s, is a situation where we have um, high crime and we have this push for jobs and money. So, everybody is just getting greedier and greedier and just trying to get paid. And that's how the culture was. And I'll even suggest that the culture is still that way in many ways. Because now we got a lot more ways of getting paid. And,
Mhm.
and think in the 1980s, if OnlyFans was around, people would be
Jeez.
no, people would be shamed a lot more. Now there's good girls talking about like, yo, should I put my feet on OnlyFans? I don't know.
Listen, I
You know
told my
what
wife going to
I
do that. I told
mean?
my wife going to do that yoga, girl.
You know what I mean?
You do yoga
Or
every morning. Go and get paid by some
yeah,
pervs
I mean,
that want
hey,
to sit there
listen,
and give you
no,
money for
my
watching you stretch.
my point is just that these things are becoming more socially acceptable. That's how the culture has changed, right? So now, when it comes to this movie, I think it's just a great. I think everybody should see this movie. Should just be like, yo, humble yourself. You know what I mean? Smell the roses sometimes, because it's
I've,
not all about money and being better than other people. Because you trying to
yes, it
impress
is.
people that no, it ain't
Money,
because
power, respect. Little Kim
yeah,
taught me that.
all right, yeah, money and
I,
power is good, but respect don't necessarily matter if the people don't give a fuck about you.
Who
I wonder
cares?
if
I
they
got
do
money,
play
power, and
this
respect.
movie in like psychology courses and stuff like that. They
I think they
probably
have
do.
to. They have to.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
have to.
of course, because it makes you think. This shit makes you think a
But
lot.
what do you think? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Thumb in the middle. Let's do one of yous.
Oh,
Oh, thumb in
in
the
the
middle.
middle.
Yeah, let's do one
This
In
is your
the
first
middle.
middle of the
No,
road.
come
I,
on,
I,
man. You hear me talking. You hear me yapping it up. You know it's gonna be a thumbs
Okay,
up.
we just we need the final say
Yeah, of
so. I
course,
don't
of
want to
course.
assume.
Nah, I mean, yeah, of course, of course. I
I,
recommend this movie. You know that. You
I'm
know
not
that.
gonna lie to you. From a directorial standpoint, I got what the director was trying to do, and I am a person who always tells people who watch a movie, stop. Like people will forever blame Michael Bay for how horrible Transformers was. The first movie it wasn't Michael Bay's fault. He was given a script. The rate was already written. He did what they gave him.
I
He
like the
doesn't.
first
He,
movie.
he doesn't write the movie. As a Transformers guy and a kid from the '80s, he had nothing to do with Transformers. And once you watch the end of the movie that says story based off of the toys, that meant they didn't give no credence to anything before. That's why Bumblebee and everything now coming out is going to be better because now Marvel has changed the game and making content what it is, what people know. But watching this film, the director, great job. The movie in itself, I'm not exactly sure. I thought Christian Bale did a great job playing a psycho, right? But I
Mhm.
can't necessarily say that I thought it was a good film. If that
Hmm.
makes sense. So when you said in the middle, I'm actually was there. I don't think I've ever had that in the show. I've either been a yes or a nay kind of guy. I give it a maybe. Let me watch it one more time to see. You know what I mean? Because
Really?
because I thought that the directing was good. I thought the acting was just okay, and I thought the story. I didn't like the story. I thought it was a little bit over the top. But you said there were parts. Did this happen? Did it not happen? Like that one scene when you mentioned that, it made me think him dragging that body out of there, putting him in the trunk, and all the guy says from Big Love, "Oh, what you got that? Where you get that bag from?" You know what I mean? Clearly, it's something
Uh
heavy
huh.
as hell. Like he just drug a
Hmm.
damn moose out of the apartment. No, so things like that, I kind of thought was like, come on, we're smarter today than we were in 2000 as far as a movie audience is concerned. So
But I
watching this
think it
movie
was.
today, I don't know if I like the film necessarily.
You know
I
what? I
think they
used
were
to.
trying to kind of highlight how there is this kind of there isn't a consequence really when you're at a certain level when you're wasp, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
white presenting, you're wealthy, you're attractive. You could almost do
I'm better.
whatever and no one will they will always assume the best of you. So even
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
him having this clearly there's a body in this bag.
The streets need a body.
Yes, but because he's white and attractive and young and
Mm-hmm.
wealthy, he's almost given a pass. Just and it's I think a lot of what was shown in the movie, it was shown that way not because of the characters were stupid. It was because it was highlighting how he, as a person who checks off all of these check boxes,
Mm-hmm.
gets away with murder, literally, possibly in this movie.
I mean,
Hold on.
mhm.
Literally, possibly.
I
Because again, I don't
mean,
know if he
Possibly,
really
literally. I'm not
stabbed
sure,
anybody.
but if it was real, he got away with it.
I'll
Yeah,
tell
I
you
don't
one
know if it
thing.
because another thing that makes me think that it maybe not real was the fact that after he was going on his killing spree at the end or close to the end of the movie, and the police are out, they got helicopters and
Mm-hmm.
everything, and then the very next day nothing. So it's like, did it happen or did it not happen? It was just,
Mhm.
yeah. But anyway,
I got a question.
thumbs up or thumbs down, Mike?
I'm gonna give it a. God damn.
You got one or the other.
I know you put me under pressure. You know what? I give it a thumbs up because the acting in the movie was good, the directing in the movie was good. I just again, as a smarter audience than I was, 23 years old, this movie came out, so I give it a thumbs up for now. But I'm gonna give it another watch, to be honest with you. So good time required. Maybe a little alcohol to enjoy a little bit more. How about that?
I got a
little
question.
Jeremy Johns grade.
Did he kill the gay guy?
Look, I'm telling you, you don't know if he
Did
killed
he?
or not.
I don't remember. I
Thanks
remember
for
him
watching,
killing
everyone.
everybody else, but did he kill the gay guy?
Join us next week for another movie directed by a woman in celebration of Women's History Month. I believe we may be doing Eve's Bayou, but it's not for sure. So stay tuned for any announcements there. And join us on all our social medias. And we will see you next time. Bye.
Everybody.